Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Let's start our video with a story in which our OP, working at a small fabric store, has to navigate a particularly stubborn customer who's dead set on getting what she wants without fully understanding what she's asking for. But before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button, smash the like if you enjoy the content, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a juicy story. I don't care how many yards it is, I want a full roll. I work at a small fabric store. It's a small business and also a physically small store with no back room or storage space, so we have a separate warehouse and the owner brings deliveries every day. If a customer needs something we're out of or needs a large amount of fabric, we contact the owner and ask him to bring it later in the day or the next day. On Saturday, a woman comes up to the register and tells me she placed an order. I'll be me, she will be SL for stubborn lady, and the store owner will be O. SL: I'm here to pick up the fabric I ordered. Me: okay, can you tell me your name and what fabric you ordered? SL: its name, and it was a white fabric. We don't have a back room, but if someone has ordered something, we leave it in the hallway that leads to the employees' only bathroom so that no one else buys it. I go find her fabric and bring it back to the counter. SL: no, that's not the one I wanted. Me: it says here on your order form that this is in fact the type of fabric that you ordered. SL: well, I decided I don't want that one. I want this one instead. She goes and grabs a different fabric. Me: if we have that in stock in the warehouse, I can have the owner bring it over later today. How many yards do you need? SL: I want a whole roll. Me: well, the fabric you originally picked comes on a 20-yard roll, but the new one you picked out doesn't come like that. It's shipped to the warehouse in very large rolls, and then they spin it down so we can spin a roll with any amount you need. SL: I don't know how much I need, I just want a full roll. Me: since the first fabric you ordered comes on a 20-yard roll, would you like 20 yards? SL: just get me a full roll. Me: okay. I call the owner. Me: customer name is here and she wants a different fabric. Do you have it in stock? Oh, yeah, I have tons. How many yards does she need? Me: she won't give me a number, she's just saying she wants a full roll. Oh, the full roll is 120 yards. Me, turning to SL: so the full roll is 120 yards? SL: I'll take it. Me, back on the phone: she says she'll take the whole thing. Oh, really? Me: I guess. Oh, okay, I'll put it in the car now. Tell her I'll bring it to the store around 4, and if she really takes the whole thing, charge her $2.99 per yard instead of $3.99. I get off the phone and give SL this information. SL: so how much will the whole thing cost? Me: $2.99 per yard for 120 yards will be approximately $360. SL: what? I thought it was $50. Me: that was the price for a 20-yard roll of a different type of fabric. SL: that's way too much money. I can't spend that much. I call the owner back because I don't want him to needlessly lug a 120-yard roll of fabric into his truck. Me: yeah, she doesn't want the full roll. Oh, yeah, that's what I thought. Tell her I'll call her when I'm at the store and I'll help her figure out what she actually needs. I tell this to SL. SL: you said he'll be here at 4, right? I'm going to call him right at 4. Me: he might not be here right at 4, so please wait for him to call you. I'll save your order form with your phone number. When the owner got to the store later and went to call her, we realized she hadn't put her phone number on the order form. I felt a little bad, but the owner told me not to worry. It's not my fault she didn't fill out the required info on the form. I'm sure she called angrily the next day to ask why no one called her, but I had the day off, so I didn't have to deal with it. Another case of someone not wanting to admit they don't know what they think they know. And our second story. Lady wanted fully vetted cat and supplies delivered 3 hours away for free. So a little background. I live in an area where people drive out and dump animals that they either don't want or can't take care of. Whenever I find a wandering animal or no one shows up on our property, I take them in, get them spayed and neutered if they aren't, get them up to date on their shots and heartworm preventative, and then try to find a home for them as my house is at capacity as far as animals go. A few months ago, I found a beautiful orange tabby covered in fleas on the side of the road. I scooped him up, took him home, gave him a dose of flea medicine and multiple flea baths, shots, and neutered. He was a sweetheart who loved to cuddle, got along well with my other cats, and seemed unbothered by my dogs. I wanted to add him to our family because of how well he fit, but my parents were adamant that he find a new home, so I posted on multiple different sites and apps with a $100 rehoming fee. Lots of people message me about him, but I'm admittedly picky about where these animals go. I don't want to get them in a home and then find them back out near my house a few months later when things don't work out for one reason or another. It's happened before. Finally, a woman messaged me who seemed like a good fit. She worked from home, so the cat would never really be on his own, and had 2 animal-loving kids as well as another laid-back cat and an elderly dog. When I was happy with the questions I had asked, I told her that I think he'd be a good fit and that I would be happy to deliver him to her so that I could see for myself and make sure the home was good and everything she'd said was true. That's when things started to go downhill. She said something along the lines of, "I really would love to give the cat a home, but can't afford the rehoming fee." Anyone that can't afford the rehoming fee can't afford a pet. I politely told her that I was pretty set on giving him to someone who could afford to care for him and that often a rehoming fee is part of that. She never responded, and I thought that was the end of it. The next day, though, she messaged me saying that she could only pay $25 and that when I delivered, she would need food and a litter box as well just to get her started. She had previously said that she already had a cat, so that didn't make sense, but whatever. I again responded saying that the rehoming fee pays for their vetting and also ensures that I can help other animals and that without it, I couldn't be sure he would be taken care of. She then sent me an address for a town 3 hours away and said that she was available all the next day, but that she couldn't afford to pay a rehoming fee at all as her daughter was sick and all her money was tied up in medical bills. At this point, I was over-dealing with this lady and told her that she was 3 hours from me and that I wouldn't be bringing the cat to her. Over the course of the next few days, she screamed over text that I was evil and only selling animals for the money, and that she's already told her children about the cat and they were upset because I was holding him hostage. Yes, those are the words she used. At this point, we'd had the cat in the house for over a month, and I just took down the ads I'd posted, and my parents still haven't said anything, so I'm pretty sure he's ours now. Adoption fees and rehoming fee are necessary to making sure, or at least trying to ensure, an animal is going to be taken care of properly. And our next story. Entitled mom attempts to steal phone from deaf brother. Quick context. I have a brother. He's deaf. That's all. On to the post. Characters. Entitled mom, EM. Entitled kid, EK. Me, now, brother. Story. Me and my brother were at an ice cream shop and he asked me if I liked it in sign language and I responded yes. A kid came over to us and said, "Hey, why are you doing that? With your hands." I explained it was sign language and how now was deaf. He responded, "Oh, okay," and went back to his table. A few moments later, the bleach blonde spray-on tan mother approached us. "Hey, so your brother's deaf, right?" "Yes, why?" "So why does he have a phone?" My son's been getting good grades. He should have it because he can hear." Is this a joke? No, you cannot. Him being deaf doesn't have anything to do with his ability to own a phone. But he can't even call. My child gets lost, and it would be so helpful if he could call me. EK then comes over. EK, "Mommy, can I have the phone now?" EM, "Just a second, honey." EM to me, "Listen, you're a liar, and that's probably not even his phone. Hand it over and we'll call it even." Me, "Even for what?" I looked over it now, blissfully unaware, and signed, "We go now." As we got up, EK snatched the phone from his hand and ran into the bathroom. Now ran after him. It was the boys' bathroom. I didn't follow. Girl. And 30 seconds later, the kid comes out crying and now comes out with bleeding arms and a dripping wet phone. The kid ran to his mom and said now attacked him. EM ran to now, but I got in the way of her and her kid bit me. I hit him straight in the face and actually knocked him out. I was twice his size. The EM didn't care, really, and at this point, an employee came outside. "Ma'am, what's going on here? Is that kid okay?" Me, "This woman and her kid attacked me, and he's trying to steal my brother's phone." EM, "That's not true. This phone is my son's, and this kid stole it. Then she knocked my son out." Me, "I knocked the kid out in self-defense. I showed the bleeding bite marks. The employee took EK inside and pulled EM into a separate room while I caught now up in sign language. They took our statements and we talked to the police for a bit and answered some questions. There ended up being cameras, thank God, and we went home an hour later. I love how this lady said he couldn't use the phone because he can't do calls. Like, does texting and FaceTime not exist? Also, the kid got what he deserved. Not his phone, not his right to try and take it from you. Good job, you guys. New neighbors' property line confusion. I'm sure this seems like common sense, but my new neighbor assumed they purchased more property than they actually did, and now they're taking it out on me. The property line didn't have survey markers because the previous owners of that house kept removing them. When I noticed the sold sign, I was curious about the price and looked at the listings online. The previous owners were basically advertising my backyard as theirs. The pictures were taken at angles where my house was conveniently hidden by trees. It looked like the home was on a large amount of property. One day I came home to people in my backyard and I stood there and looked at them confused, not realizing the previous owners had moved out. My first encounter was when I was out doing yard work and they angrily questioned me about being on their property. They were in disbelief when I told them an estimate of the property line. I ended up being off by like a foot because markers were gone. I began to notice little underhanded things being done to my property by him, throwing things in my yard, etc. Recently, I came home to a bunch of my trees being trimmed, and I told the people to stop, but they were basically finished. I could see the neighbor watching me out the window, and since then, he's watched me when I was in what he thought was his yard. Came home today to a survey being done. It took over 6 hours because the neighbor kept telling them to check again. The line was where I said it was. I ran into the surveyor as he was leaving, and he said he couldn't believe the neighbor bought an expensive home and didn't do a survey before buying, especially when there were no visible property markers. I know I'm in for some trouble with this neighbor as he's already been a pain in my butt since they've moved in. I did nothing wrong, and yet he resents me for getting screwed on his home. If I had to guess, it's about 2,000 square feet of property they lost. Edit. Clarifying a few things, I know the new neighbor at least had the original survey map from when the home was built. It's basically just measurements of the lot and where the house is located on it. No landmarks are on it. It'd be hard to tell what was his just based on him looking at the map. My great-uncle owned the land the entire neighborhood was built on and separated it into plots before building the homes. There weren't any visible property line markers or a way for the new neighbor to tell what was his based on the map without measuring being done. The previous neighbors kept pulling out the wooden stakes that were next to the official metal survey stakes, which had become buried. The surveyor had to use a metal detector to find the official markers. My lawyer advised me on steps to protect my property and even sent a formal letter to the neighbor, making it clear that any further encroachment would have legal consequences. After receiving the letter, the neighbor finally backed off. We've kept our distance since, and while the relationship isn't friendly, it's at least civil. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.